On April 27, 2011, the sky above America turned violent. It wasn't just a storm. It was nature, unchained. In less than 24 hours, over 360 tornadoes tore across the South, leaving behind a scar so deep it could be seen from space. This was the 2011 Super Outbreak, the deadliest tornado event in modern history. Entire towns were erased, families vanished, and even today, there are moments from that day no camera ever captured. It began like any other spring morning in the American South. Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee. The air was warm, heavy, almost electric. People went to work, kids went to school. But meteorologists were already worried. Days before the outbreak, computer models began to whisper the same terrifying message. Atmospheric instability, off the charts, wind shear at dangerous levels, and conditions so perfect for tornadoes that even veteran forecasters felt uneasy. By sunrise, on April 27th, the National Weather Service issued high-risk warnings across 6 states. But no one could truly imagine what was coming. At 6 a.m., the first wave struck. Dozens of tornadoes ripped through Mississippi and Alabama. Small compared to what would come later, but powerful enough to down power lines and communications. Radar towers were damaged. Warnings went silent. It was as if nature was cutting off the alarm system before the real attack. By mid-morning, emergency responders were already overwhelmed. Roads were blocked, hospitals flooded with the injured, and yet, the main event hadn't even started. Around 2 p.m., weather satellites began detecting massive supercells, thunderstorms taller than Mount Everest, forming over Mississippi and Alabama. What made these storms different was their speed. They moved fast, spinning faster, devouring everything in their path. Tornado emergencies were declared. And then, the first monster arrived. At 5:13 p.m., a mile-wide EF4 tornado touched down just southwest of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Winds over 190 miles per hour. It tore through neighborhoods, shredded homes, and hurled cars like toys. In just 6 minutes, entire blocks were gone. More than 50 people killed, hundreds injured, and then the same tornado kept going. After Tuscaloosa, the twister barreled toward Birmingham, Alabama's largest city. Power lines snapped, reporters screamed, "Live on air." People watched, helpless, as one of America's largest tornadoes chewed its way through the heart of 2 major cities. "That is a large tornado," a meteorologist said on live TV, voice trembling. "Folks, this is catastrophic." As night fell, the sky didn't calm. It grew angrier. Tornado after tornado touched down in the darkness, invisible to the human eye. Without power, families huddled in basements, praying the roar wouldn't find them next. Across the region, entire towns were wiped off the map. Phil Campbell, Hackleburg, Rainsville, names once ordinary, now engraved in tragedy. By midnight, more than 200 tornadoes had been confirmed. Emergency services couldn't keep up. Roads were blocked by fallen trees, hospitals were overwhelmed, and communications were down. The South was in total darkness. When dawn finally broke on April 28th, the sunlight revealed a world unrecognizable. Trees stripped bare, cars stacked on rooftops, families searching through ruins for loved ones who'd vanished overnight. Satellite images showed a 600-mile scar across the landscape. Tornado tracks, carved deep into the earth. More than 320 people were dead. Entire generations, gone in one night. The Super Outbreak of 2011 had produced the largest cluster of tornadoes ever recorded, 362 in total across 21 states. Yet, amid the destruction, there were miracles. In Tuscaloosa, a mother shielded her children beneath a mattress as the roof vanished above them. They survived without a scratch. In Rainsville, a firefighter dug through debris for 14 hours straight to save strangers he'd never met. And in Hackleburg, a high school teacher used her body to protect her students. As the walls caved in, she lived to tell their story. These were ordinary people, facing something beyond human understanding, and somehow they endured. So what made April 27, 2011, so deadly? Scientists later discovered a perfect storm of ingredients, a strong jet stream from the west collided with warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico and cold, dry air from the north. The result: wind speeds, twisting violently at different altitudes, creating tornadoes capable of leveling cities. It wasn't just the power of each tornado, it was their number, their timing, and their precision. Many followed nearly the same tracks as older historic tornadoes, as if nature was repeating its own nightmare. In the aftermath, experts called for better radar systems, stronger alert networks, and more tornado shelters. And for a while, it seemed like we learned, until the next disaster came. Because that's the thing about history, it doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Every few years, the sky reminds us who's really in control. Today, more than a decade later, the scars of April 27th remain. Rebuilt homes stand where neighborhoods once fell. Memorial plaques mark where families were lost, and survivors still remember the sound. That deep, unearthly roar, like a freight train made of wind and fire. They say tornadoes are random, that they strike without reason, without mercy. But those who lived through that day know it wasn't random. It was the day nature reminded us how fragile we truly are. April 27th, 2011. The day the sky exploded. The day entire towns vanished, but their stories refused to die.